Boricua faithful wearing the red and the blue, and I'm not sure why they're not smiling. They should be, because of the big win they had the other night in overtime over Brazil. Australia, meanwhile, beginning with a loss to France. So they've got some work to do. We know this game would be first, followed by Brazil against France. And we're happy to bring you the action. It's the second game day of this FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament. So teams punching their tickets fast and furious already. China, of course, getting there, winning in Serbia. Here's how the standings are today. France, Puerto Rico, Brazil, and Australia. Again, just one day of action has been played. France would secure an Olympic ticket later with a win. Puerto Rico, well, they would get a win. They would get an Olympic ticket with a win, or if they lose by 1 point, France beat Brazil in their game. Australia, we know tonight, cannot qualify because, of course, they come into this game 0-1. So Brazil also cannot qualify here on game day 2. So I'm Jeff Taylor, joined by Shona Thorburn, and there they are. They're excited. The Puerto Rican fans should be excited after watching, I think, what you and I would describe as the biggest win in their nation's history in basketball.
Yeah, I definitely, it has to rank up there. I'm sure it's their biggest win, especially on the women's side for the Women's Federation. Yeah, the Puerto Rican Women's Federation. I mean, and they also beat Brazil. So those are kind of, you know, America rivalries. And Brazil, I mean, you know, they have kind of gone downhill a little bit, but this is a team that for a long time at every major event, they were medal contentions and they knocked them off.
Well, good evening, folks, and welcome to Bourges, France. If you're just joining us, this is the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Bourges. And it's the game between Puerto Rico and Australia. Puerto Rico winning on opening night against Brazil. And their fans, family members, friends, all happy, all smiles. And they know that they've taken a giant step towards Tokyo. They haven't got their ticket yet, but if they win tonight, they will get that ticket, and even they could lose by 1 point and still qualify if France beat Brazil in that second game, which I think probably most people expect to happen. Australia, they lost on opening night to France. They weren't at their best. They played well, maybe in a couple of phases, but overall, you know, when you're Australia, you expect to win every time out on the court. And we're looking for a much better performance from them tonight.
Yeah, you said it. I think they need a much better performance. The thing is, I don't think they played well throughout that 40-minute game against France, but the game never got away from them. They were actually always in the game, and they didn't play well. I think they're going to play much better here tonight. I think they had a day off yesterday. Both these teams did. Australia probably regrouped and talked about some things that they really need to work on, not just for this tournament, but also for the future and, you know, planning on being in Tokyo at the Olympics.
Well, it's good to see Alana Smith come out for the opening, the national anthems here. She didn't play the other night, so that'll be a big addition for Australia. Now a pause as we hear the national anthems for both Puerto Rico and Australia.
And now, the national anthem of Australia.
Always good to hear the national anthems before the games, and it reminds us this is all about national teams, all about national team basketball. Everybody is paying attention to this game back in Australia and Puerto Rico, and with the stakes so high. You know, to get to the Olympics, that is a major, major accomplishment, a major aim, a major goal. Whatever you want to call it, this game is huge tonight for both of these teams. The refereeing crew lining up there. We just took our attention off of for a second. Luis Castillo, Maya Forsberg, and Virginia Perugini. And Perugini from the left on from Argentina, and from the right, Forsberg from Denmark, although she referees in the United States and the Atlantic Coast Conference, in fact, in American college basketball, NCAA, and Castillo is a referee in Spain. So for Puerto Rico, Jennifer O'Neal, I'm just gonna throw this out there. She was unbelievable the other night, the point guard, and Allie Gibson came to life in that second half. And really it was a case of so many players contributing. Melendez, Rosado, Isalis, Quiñones hit a couple of huge baskets, made big plays, but Jennifer O'Neal really distinguished herself. I mean, she was money in the bank pretty much from start to finish.
Yeah, she was. She ended up with 13 points. She had 19 at halftime. Yeah, I think she got a little bit fatigued there at some points in the second half, but when they needed her the most in the fourth quarter and in overtime, she stepped up and delivered.
Now for Australia, we'll see what part Alana Smith plays, but we assume she will be playing tonight, so that's good. She's not playing, you're telling me, okay. So she lined up at
she
least.
Did, yeah, she's
maybe
not
if they get
playing,
desperate.
yeah.
Leilani Mitchell, Steph Talbot, Cambage out there, and Blitzovs, obviously, who was called in, but it's gonna be Mitchell, Talbot, Cambage, Beck Allen, and Kayla George.
So the exact same starting lineup that they went to against France the other night. And then there's that woman right there, Liz Cambage, 19 points, 20 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, she, you know, I keep talking about this. For me, she is one of the top 5 players in the world at this moment. I think it's going to be very difficult for Puerto Rico. I hope they have some type of scouting plan to be able to just stop that woman.
And Sandy Brondello, the former Australian Opal, now a longtime coach, both WNBA, also coaching. She's coached in Europe and coached this national team for a few years now. And you saw Coach Batista in the middle there as well. There he is. He emerges. And that had to be a real thrill for him the other night, engineering that win over Brazil. Well, good evening, folks. Just welcoming you again to Bourges, France. This is the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament in Bourges, France, and one of 3 venues for the qualifiers. Serbia has 2. Of course, one was supposed to be in Foshan, but that tournament was moved to Serbia recently. And also there's a big tournament going on not that far from here in Ostend. Maybe we can get out of here after tonight and hustle over there, watch a game.
It's a pretty good tournament going on there as well. I mean, like all of these tournaments with those Olympic tickets on the line, every game counts. Points for and against also will probably count. You and I have been trying to calculate all day, you know, what could possibly happen if who beats who and by how much.
Well, good evening and welcome to Bourges, France. It's the FIBA Women's Olympic Qualifying Tournament. And the clash between Australia in the green and gold and Puerto Rico in the red the blue trim, and Australia losing on opening night to France. They won the opening tip, but Liz Cambage misses with her first shot. How much confidence has Puerto Rico taken from that opening night win over Brazil? Here's Quiñones. Guathmy launches her first shot, and Kayla George, the rebound, hands it off to Beck Allen. Ball slips out of her hands, but she gets it back. Kayla George, she can shoot it, and she can hit it.
And for me, I think that's a good sign for Australia that, you know, the first person on the board is someone other than Liz Cambage.
Yeah, we were talking about how much focus they put on getting her the ball. How about O'Neal? And she comes out and misses. Great hustle by Guathmy to get on the ground for the ball. And Kayla George alertly takes the ball. Now Leilani Mitchell passes up ahead. And Steph Talbot is fouled. So she will go to the line. Quiñones hustling back on defense. You're talking about a big difference in the rankings between these two teams. Australia currently number 2 in the FIBA world ranking for women. And you have to go all the way down to number 23 to find Puerto Rico. She makes 1 of 2. So 4-0 for Australia, and really they needed a good start. I mean, they start as big favorites in this game.
Yeah, they definitely do. I mean, I think
they still needed a good start, though. You don't want to start getting things inside your head. Jennifer O'Neal, meanwhile, misses another one.
I think they need a good start because they need to prove to themselves that they are better than how they played against France 2 nights ago.
Cambage decides to put it on the deck and goes to the basket. Kayla George with the rebound. And now Leilani Mitchell hits the three-pointer, and Batista has to call a timeout. So 2 minutes into the game, and Australia leading it 7-0.
Like that, open, we go to 30, okay, y métete a la brecha, en el medio está Taira, ahí se está abajo, y todo el mundo en la brecha, y mueve la bola con paciencia, miren el medio, estamos claros, too easy on defense. Vamos arriba, vamos, es en defensa, gente, too easy on defense. Choca a la jugadora temprano, pendiente para ayudarle, activo on defense. Vamos a correrle, vamos.
Defense, 1, 2, 3.
Play, juega.
There we had a quick listen in on the Puerto Rico timeout. Coach Batista kind of said, hey guys, come on, it's too easy on defense. I think they've done a decent job so far on Liz Cambage, but the other people, they're giving up offensive rebounds. I think Kayla George has done a great job coming out aggressive for them. She knocked down that 3. She's already been to the free throw line. Her offensive rebound was what led to that wide open 3-point shot by that woman right there, Leilani Mitchell. So, you know, a little bit too easy. I think they have to do a better job on the rebounds as well and just frustrate the Australians a little bit more.
Rosado, and her pass, she was going to try to hand it off to Jennifer O'Neal. So shaky start. I mean, in many respects, the pressure is off Puerto Rico because of that huge win the other night. But they would like to confirm that with a good performance tonight. And so far, they're now trailing 9-0. Cambage gets her first basket. Rosado. Good hustle by Guathmy to knock it out for another, for an offensive rebound. Now O'Neal tickles the twine. You like to tickle the twine, Shona? You were more the dish, weren't you? You were dishing.
I was.
Here's Cambage backing up Quiñones. Look at, and she goes up. Looked like she got fouled there at the end. She might have gotten away with the charge, though.
Yeah, I think maybe the first shot she went up with, I think it was pretty good defense by Quiñones of Puerto Rico. I do think Guathmy maybe on that put back by Cambage got away with a foul.
Guathmy misses, though. She turns into the lane. So a very difficult start here for Puerto Rico, already facing a bit of a mountain to climb. And Kayla George fouled by Melendez. So we went over this. As you look at the replay, we went over this before the game, but Puerto Rico would get an Olympic berth if they win this game. And that was the, see the contact. Cambage staying after it. Puerto Rico would also qualify if they lose by just exactly 1 point, but only if France also defeat Brazil. Australia cannot qualify tonight. O'Neal. Over to Quiñones. Those jumpers are not falling right now for Puerto Rico.
No, they're not. I think they need to try and attack the basket a little bit more. I understand why they're not. They're a little bit intimidated.
Well, that was great defense by O'Neal leading to the break, and that's much better for Puerto Rico. Rosado, and if they can get some cheap buckets like that, they'll take them. Cambage turns, misses. Kayla George keeping it alive. So the scrap, you know, it's already hard enough trying to contend with Cambage in there, but when you got to go up against Kayla George as well, that makes it difficult. So Quiñones and Rosado go over to the bench. Salaman, who played very well, and Yolanda Jones into the game for Puerto Rico. Also, Allie Gibson in the game. She was outstanding. Jennifer O'Neal going behind her back, goes right at Ebsary. Allie Gibson flies in. Boy, she's got some toughness to her game. Not able to come down with that. But she really has been transformed, really, since that second half the other night. Beck Allen, meanwhile, misses from a long way out. Jones pushing the break, gets it to Gibson. And Gibson goes up. And great follow by Guathmy, and she is fouled on the putback.
And good job by Guathmy. I mean, Gibson right away, she came in and she brought some aggressiveness. You saw her go after that offensive rebound there. She takes it hard to Leilani Mitchell. Doesn't get the basket, but perfect opportunity for Guathmy to kind of follow that missed layup. And Guathmy is no stranger to these Australians. She actually did spend, you know, a year playing professionally in the WNBL, so she knows these players and their style of play very well.
Tolo's come in, Mariana Tolo for Cambage. Also, Beck Allen takes a seat. No, she's still out there, excuse me. There's Tolo over to Mitchell. She's hit one from there, but that time, and that's a quick shot early in the shot clock. Guathmy. Puerto Rico showing signs of playing themselves back into the game here. They played from behind pretty much most of the game against Brazil. Yolanda Jones. She's gonna take it and make it! Oh, the bench is so important for these national teams, and Puerto Rico getting a spark from theirs. George drives and scores. Soft touch.
Yeah, I think the start of this game, I mean, especially for Kayla George, she's just come out with a different attitude than she did against France.
Salaman able to get the pass to Gibson, and she goes in strong. Not able to finish. And the drive, and the basket is good. Nice finish by Mitchell. So she will go to the line for potential three-point play.
And there you saw the young McBeggar coming in for Kayla George. Much deserved rest for Kayla George. And you know what? I like that both these coaches right now are kind of going to their bench because they realize how important this game is. Like you kept saying, Australia need a win. And if Puerto Rico can get a win, guess what? They're going to the Olympics, right? So both this game is still for both these teams, very, very important. And I think they know they're going to have fresh legs come the 40th minute.
That was a great pass by Solomon. Jones not able to score. Good attempt. Tolo fouled by Jones from behind. And really, Jones just needs to play defense. Tolo's not going to be, you know, she didn't really do too much offensively the other night, so just don't give a reach and give away a cheap foul.
Yeah. And we see
fourth foul for Puerto Rico.
Nicholson already in the game for Australia, and she only played less than a minute, I think, against France.
McBeggar in the game, offensive rebound and scores. Yeah, Nicholson did not really get any time. Gibson from the same spot where she had that big 4-point play against Brazil, but she's one of the many Puerto Ricans who haven't been able to put it in the basket yet, and McBeggar scores again. Batista has to get another timeout. His team trailing by 14 points.
You know, Puerto Rico had that score 8-13, and really Australia have gone on a 9-0 run.
Like that. We need to go to the system. We need to keep passing the ball until we find a good shot. Not one pass, one shot. One pass, one shot. We need to keep moving the ball until we find. If they go, listen, if they go to zone, they start like this.
See that Puerto Rico have yet to hit a three-pointer.
Right? So we go on 23 or we go on 30. But you need to move the ball. Need to move the ball, post player down, the other one in the gaps, okay? Pass the ball to the side, flash to the ball. This player has to go to the short corner, okay? Y si no la tienes a ninguna de las dos, pasa la bola y sigue poniendo la bola. Hey, we are not competing on defense. Yes. That's what we're doing. Not competing on defense. Come on, you gotta be better. Let's do it, man.
Yeah, and you said it, they're 0 for 4 right now from 3. And they shot 47% against Brazil from three-point range in their first game in that big upset. So there are a team that I think rely more on their outside shooting than really getting to the basket and attacking the basket. So when your shots aren't falling, it makes it difficult.
Okay, coming out of the timeout, Solomon brings it up the floor. Their coach emphasizing the need to move the basketball more on offense. Work to get a much better shot. Solomon, well, you almost saw her hesitate to think, well, I know our coach wants us to pass it around, but this is a good shot, and I'm going to take it. Oh, now the ball thrown into the hands of Solomon. And 1-2, and the finish. 5 straight points by Solomon coming out of the timeout.
I mean, that's kind of a coach's dream, right? You come out of a timeout and your team scores 5 consecutive quick points.
But there's nothing better for a team than to score off turnovers. Great move, though, getting it down low to Mariana Tolo. Well, it'll be great to see her get back to the form that made her so important in that team that finished 3rd at the World Cup back in 2014. Here she is Ebzery guarding, a little mismatch on Gwathmey, and then Gwathmey slipped and might have hurt her groin.
Yeah, looks like she kind of slipped on the decal there. Sticker on the court. You know what? We saw her take some tough hits. We saw her take some tough hits against that Brazilian team, and she went right back out.
So hopefully she's okay. Quinones, meanwhile, has come back in for Yolanda Jones. O'Neal, they desperately need her to get on track to have any chance in this game. Ebzery for Australia goes to the baseline. Her little wraparound, right idea, but not executed well. Allie Gibson picks it up, gives it back to Solomon. Gwathmey puts it on the deck, drives in. Great follow by Quinones, and fouled from behind. Yeah, she was definitely hacked by Ebzery. And as Ebzery, you can see her talking to her teammates. Cambage comes back into the game for Tolo. So good work from Mariana Tolo, who used to play in Bourges. Fan favorite.
Yeah, she knows this gym well. Then again, they have done some upgrades since she was here.
Meaning the gym, not the team.
No, of course not. The gym, yes. They added about 2,000 seats.
Important shots from Quinones. Hit a big three-pointer against Brazil. Had that big layup late in the game. McBeggar, she's been lively since coming into the game for Australia. Here she is, catches it in the paint, goes to work, and somehow Puerto Rico survived that with Cambage and McBeggar there going after the basketball.
You know, you see Puerto Rico playing a lot of zone on defense, and that's kind of what you have to do if you want to get the ball outside of the paint.
Melendez gets it back to Solomon. Beautiful ball movement by Puerto Rico. Solomon gets it back. She's got to put it up. And O'Neal got it off just in time. I think Solomon didn't realize the shot clock had not reset, but O'Neal was alert. So O'Neal has 2 points. They need her to get going. Australia, meanwhile, appear to have the last shot. Inside to Cambage. And then a foul called by Mai Forsberg.
Puerto Rican fans don't really agree with that.
Quinones, watch this.
I think that was pretty good defense. I'm not sure if she did kind of hit her in the face. Maybe from the angle that the ref had, the referee who made the call. Yeah, but you know, from the angle we saw, a little different.
I think you're taught to get the hand in the face. I mean,
especially against someone who's so much taller than you are.
But there is like, how close in the face should you put it? Cambage makes the second. So Quinones goes out and Gwathmey comes back in. I think probably, in fairness to Cambage, she probably gets hit sometimes and they don't call it, so those things even out over the course of the game. Rosado, Salomon, they've got 3.4 seconds to go. See if they can race up the floor. Oh, the ball intercepted by McBeggar, and then good attempt right at the end to prevent the shot by Rosado. So far so good tonight for Australia. They lead it 26-15 over Puerto Rico.
There you see the stats. Australia shooting 58% compared to 33%. Only 17% compared to 40% from three-point range. I just think Australia have come out.
Sorry, what was your point?
Yeah, no, I think they've come out a lot better. They're also taking care of the ball much better. You know, the game against France, you and I were talking and looking at statistics after the game. They more or less shot the same shooting percentage as France did, but Australia had 18 turnovers. I think the French defense is a lot more aggressive than how Puerto Rico are playing. You know, they're trying to pack the paint and not give Australia as many advantages inside the key because of the height that they're giving up. So that has to play a little bit of a part to it. But I also just think Australia came out with a different mentality, and they're trying to improve from their last game. I think Kayla George has been great for them. You know, we said against France, you can't have two people score, and that's what happened to Australia in their first game against France. And tonight already, they have 6 people on the six people on the scoreboard. That's what they need to do if they want to win tonight, if they want to continue to improve and then get to Tokyo.
Second quarter underway. Lailani Mitchell's had a good start to the game. She's on the court. Nicholson, George, Cambage, and Allen. Cambage. Puerto Rico have got to limit those second opportunities, and that leads to the Cambage basket. $13 points the difference. O'Neal cuts in, then passes back out. Great play, Melendez. Well, right play, just got to make the shot. Now Mitchell brings it forward, hands off to Cambage. Now the lead has grown to 15 points.
And for me, really, if I'm Puerto Rico, you kind of have to get O'Neal going and get her more involved. I know she's only 1 of 5, but her shots have been on, you know. She's hitting back iron on a lot of her attempts.
Just has to keep putting them up. Here's Guathme. And right at the end of the shot clock. You know, if they can get rebounds at this end, I mean, you can see themselves shooting themselves back in the game. Cambage, however, shows her range. Guathme almost dragged her foot there. O'Neal. And she's off, and Jones, very fortunate, didn't hardly move, and the ball just came right to her. And Rosado, with that second opportunity, hits the 3, but gosh, Jones was just kind of standing around, and it was kind of like
one of those fortunate bounces.
The ball was like, pick me up, please, because the Australians were coming in for it. Cambage again goes hard, and she is bumped and goes down. Timber. I'll tell you what, when she falls, she goes a long way, doesn't she? Watch this.
I mean, you know, you're always taught if you're going to foul, make sure you foul hard enough that they can't score also. I do think, you know, if I'm trying to scout this Australian team and, you know, how do you stop Cambage? I think you need to be physical with her, and I think you need to frustrate her and kind of get in her head a little bit mentally. And by doing that, you're gonna give up some fouls, but I think that's the way that you can kind of slow her down, sort of take her out of her game and out of her comfort level.
Well, Jones was called for the foul. She goes out. Roma checks in, and Jones does look tired. She needs a breather. So Cambage makes 1 of 2, and it's back to a 13-point game.
I mean, you talked about how Jones more or less came out of retirement to be here for this Puerto Rico team because one of their top star players, Lozado Cabbage, went down with an ankle injury just a week ago.
In Portugal, that's right.
Yeah, so, you know, they...
Adjusting on the fly. Great,
exactly.
Great defense by Mitchell. A little careless by Guathme. George on the baseline. Great rebound by Guathme. Look at that. Here she goes, rebounding and running. She's going to pull up on the break. Got it! Guathme! And she tugs on her Puerto Rico jersey and says, vamos, let's go.
And she's another person, I mean, we keep talking about Jennifer O'Neill. She's another person who came up with big buckets for Puerto Rico in that win over Brazil.
Well, we're seeing them kind of grow up in front of our eyes, Puerto Rico, to be honest. They're not backing down.
Hey, they're jacking it up a little bit, but we're giving them offensive rebounds, and they're shooting threes now. Okay, long shot, long rebound. We've got to have discipline and blocking out so we don't give them second chance opportunities. Okay, down the other end, man or zone, it doesn't matter. Look to run some drag action in a zone too. Still going to work. Nothing changes. Okay, oh, look, weak. But look, let's execute our play. Okay? Keep moving the ball until we get those great shots here. But it's defense first. We've dropped down. Let's get 3 consecutive stops right now. Hey, man or zone here. We're running horns. Let's go. Execute. 1, 2, 3. There we go. Get the momentum.
So there you heard it. Coach Brondello not too happy with sort of the intensity level that her team is playing defense. And you know, a lot of coaches talk about how to win a game and to beat good teams, you have to get 3 consecutive stops in a row. That's a lot of times, a lot of good teams, they talk about that, you know, and it's a conscious thing. You'll hear the bench kind of screaming, all right, that's 2, we need to get 1 more. So I think that was just a quick little timeout to kind of get her team motivated to play harder defense, I would say.
Mitchell to Cambage and goes up and is fouled on the shot. That's almost unstoppable there. If she is allowed to get that deep into the paint to catch the ball.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, Puerto Rico are giving up a lot of height. But you got to somehow stop her or just, you know, 3 people need to collapse.
Oh. Always find that interesting when somebody goes into the lane and you don't hear the whistle. Early it was Kayla George, but Puerto Rico got the rebound.
Yeah, I think if...
Oh, telegraph pass by Rosado, but then she takes it back from Cambage. It leads to a chance. Allie Gibson for 3. Off the front of the rim, the long rebound comes back out. And the referee says it goes back to Australia.
Yeah, Allie Gibson was 2 for 6 against Brazil the other night. She did have quite a few. I would say almost all 6 of her threes, minus the one that she got. She was open. Oh, she might have had a case there. It looked like it might have gone off Nicholson. But what Allie Gibson did, I think, in that second half for that team, her aggressiveness and getting to the free throw line. She finished the game 8 of 12 from free throw.
Blitzavs just into the game. And rebound Kuzmanic, and then she's fouled by Blitzavs. Either Blitzavs or Nicholson. So it's Nicholson, in fact. Rosado taking on Leilani Mitchell. Kuzmanic is going to play in New Zealand. Now Rosado open, so she takes it. Kuzmanic with the offensive rebound. Oh, she throws it right into the hands of Blitzavs. And Blitzavs goes down and scores. Lead goes back to 14. Guathme Blitzavs runs into Roma. So that is the second team foul in Australia. Nicholson's coming out. Ebsary comes back in as you look at the foul on Blitzavs. Her family likes that contact. Her brother plays Aussie rules. Here's Rosado missing. And another basket down low. Cambage. And the lead has grown to 16 points. Gwathmey open, so she takes it and fouled while attempting to three by Blitzavs. Talked about her brother, Mark. He'd be applauding that. So Kayla George goes out, and Blitzavs, who's come back from a serious knee injury. She suffered back in, I think it was 2015.
O'Neal checking back into the game for Puerto Rico. You know, we talk about how I think if they want to win, obviously she needs to be a big contributor. She only has 2 points tonight, but it's also really hard to back up the kind of game that she had against Brazil. To do that two games in a row at any level, you finish with 30 points for them. It's a tall tale. She set the bar very high for herself.
Well, I'll tell you what, you get opportunities like that, you got to take it, and she did. So she cuts the lead back to 13 points. Now it's all about getting stops again. Solomon and O'Neal up at the top of the 2-3 zone for Puerto Rico. Cambage falling down. Good box out by Quinones. Cambage slow to get down the floor, could create an opportunity, and Quinones launches it. Cambage finally gets down and gets the rebound.
And again, I think the way that you affect Cambage is to be aggressive with her, and I think that's what we're seeing here by Puerto Rico.
Oh, she gets it to go, Cambage. Wow. What a finish. Luis Castillo explaining how to, what you're allowed to do in that low post in terms of defense. And you see the emotion from Cambage. $18 points for Cambage, and the lead is 15. Yolanda Jones, meanwhile, checks back into the game. Ezzy McBeggar coming in, and Tolo. Cambage takes another breather. Solomon. Gwathmey. Now Quinones. Yolanda Jones, shot clock down to 5. Jennifer O'Neal's gonna have to get something. They get to Solomon, she gets it up. Oh, the follow, and almost there from Yolanda Jones. Now Ebsary cross court to Mitchell. Inside to Ezzy McBeggar, couldn't quite get it, but then she gets it off the board, and Ebsary drills a three-pointer for the Opals. And now the lead is 19 points. O'Neal to the corner, Solomon, ball rims out. Outlet pass quickly from Tolo to Ebsary. Ebsary gets in the paint, leans into it. Good hustle from Blitzavs to get the ball back for the Opals. Mitchell from deep. Good! Another three-pointer. And they've already surpassed the half-century mark here in the first half, Australia.
You know, it kind of seems like every time Puerto Rico puts up a bad shot or give up an offensive rebound, Australia really make them pay.
Well, that time Puerto Rico make Australia pay for not getting the rebound. But Australia up 20, Mitchell, and this time just grazes the outside of the net. And maybe at this point, if you're Puerto Rico, you're just thinking, right, let's just try to stem the flow of points, try to cut into this 20-point deficit, whatever we can take off before we go to halftime.
Yeah, exactly. You have 2.5 minutes left. You kind of want to just cut the lead, maybe get a 4-point advantage going into halftime.
Blitzavs for the reach, picks up the foul. So that's 4 team fouls.
And Blitzav's 3rd personal foul, so I wonder if she's going to come out.
She will. Steph Talbot's going to come back in for Blitzavs. So 20 points, the lead for Australia. O'Neal. And Talbot put her off the shot maybe. Guathmy has it though, another chance. Quinones, pump fake, back to Guathmy, open. Nice movement for Puerto Rico. Great patience. Excellent decision, and again, it's back to 17 points now. McBeggar drives in, and boy, that was an impressive finish with that left hand.
Yeah, well, she's been a great addition for them. 6 points already. Didn't play much against France.
Guathmy again. That's a long 2 if it goes. So timeout with 1:36 remaining. Australia leading by 17, but Puerto Rico, again, trying to cut something off that deficit before halftime.
I mean, ideally, coaches always talk about trying to not get down by more than 10 points.
Okay, we've got to just stay up and in. Okay, we can't trade baskets with them. Great play the horns one. If they're a man-to-man, go to the can. Okay, and if it's not there, don't force it. You get to the, just do dribble handoff or pass, cut, exit out.
Cambage with 19 leading the way.
Okay, which means if they're man or don't, remember the one down, the weak. And if it's man, you can go one down in the corner action. Yeah, exactly. We got to block out. That's what they're saying in the game. I mean, they're up. Don't look at the score, okay? They're going to block them out here. So you're on Guathany. No shot fake. Don't stay on the ground. And don't foul them. Okay, come on.
So there you heard Coach Brondello.
Jose Neto, the coach of Brazil, watching, talking with his assistants.
Watching, and they're also scouting.
Yeah, and they'll be playing.
Yeah,
right?
they'll be playing Australia tomorrow.
So all the teams had a day off. And they've come back today, and then they come back tomorrow to play. So a minute and a half remaining. Australia with possession. Up 17. McBeggar again gets in the paint. Boy, once she elevates,
yeah,
it's either going to be she's going to make it or miss it because nobody's going to block it. Solomon. And now a foul called on, is it Talbot? Or
it was on Ebzery.
Okay, little reach, little hold.
Trying to make things difficult for Guathmy. McBeggar, sorry, only played just over 2 minutes the other night against France. And so far, I think she's done an excellent job. Like you said, if she gets close to the basket, her elevation, height, length that she has, she's hard to stop. And she's very athletic. I mean, this is a young woman. And when she was a teenager, a video was going around of her dunking. So clearly she's athletic and talented as well.
Again, the lead cut back to 17 points. Can Puerto Rico get a stop? Talbot. Tolo, long jumper, good! And if you're Puerto Rico, you're thinking, wow, we're already contending with Cambage, we're contending with McBeggar, and now Tolo comes out and hits a long jump shot. Guathme explodes! Boy, I tell you what, she has been terrific tonight.
Again, you know, like I mentioned, she played in the WNBL, so these women know her very well. And I also feel like when you're going up against a team that, you know, players that you played against, played with, I'm not saying there's any more motivation. She doesn't need more motivation than to get a win from Puerto Rico. But you also, you know, you want to prove yourself. You want to prove why you were, you know, playing in that league against these people. And she's doing that here today.
Well, guess what? She's got a game-high 21 points. I mean, that is how good she's been. She has been really, on that offensive end, utterly spectacular. So she's got more points than Cambage, who has 19.
She has played a lot more minutes.
But now the miss, and Salaman, see if Puerto Rico hold it for one. They should, and Guathme has it. But you got to respect Guathme. I mean, she's going up against some good basketball players standing in front of her, whether it's been Cambage, McBeggar this time. And I think she's going to launch a three. Here she goes. She's got to hurry. Oh, she waited too long. Don't know why she took so long, but anyway, we were singing her praises, and she goes to halftime. Puerto Rico trailing. It's Australia on top, 55-39. Five of 10 from deep for Australia, 5 of 16 for Puerto Rico. And Puerto Rico doing what they have to do at the free throw line. And from a rebounding standpoint, not too bad.
Yeah, but look at those 10 offensive rebounds that Puerto Rico have over a much taller Australian team. And there you see the battle.
The effort is there. It's the points in the paint, however, which is where Australia are really going to town on Puerto Rico, where they've got 28 compared to just 10 for Puerto Rico. And also, perhaps not surprisingly, the points from the bench. Australia with more depth, 19 points from the bench and 9 for Puerto Rico. So what does Puerto Rico, what does Coach Batista say at halftime?
I mean, you definitely need to continue to attack the offensive glass. When you're down, you need to get more possessions, and how you do that is by attacking the offensive glass. It would be nice to see, you know, maybe running some plays and really getting a wide open shot for O'Neal. I think Australia have done a good job defensively on her, one-on-one wise. Her shots, in my opinion, have been good shots, and they are on. She's just missing a little long. That might be a sign of fatigue and the effort that she had to put out 2 nights ago against Brazil. Again, I think it's very difficult for a team to rely solely on one player. And right now, Puerto Rico, Guathme, absolutely incredible, 21 points. But she needs other people to step up.
You know,
Gibson has 0 points.
Yeah.
And she was a big factor in the win over Brazil. So maybe it'll be, but she came out and did a much better job in the second half. So maybe she's a second half type player.
Yeah, absolutely. But O'Neal as well. I mean, you know,
yeah.
Honestly, I mean, it's almost kind of like things are balancing out. She was almost perfect against Brazil. You know, and if you had to pick or choose, if you wanted her to have a big game, you know, maybe that was the game you're like, okay, she had a huge game. We can't expect her to do that every single night. So at halftime, it's 55-39. Australia on top of Puerto Rico. We'll be right back. open. Foul by Julia Turner. Are you kidding me? Allie Gibson has had the second half of her life.
Good defense there.
What a rejection there by Togashi. See the replay here, the good help coming over and just swatting that away.
Chelsea Gray in. And Sue Bird was the first off the bench to get up and congratulate that play.
Sean White hit from the top of the key. Now she probes. Driving in, she's rejected. And that will get the crowd involved.
I think, like I said, I think we did a very, very good situation from us. From us, I mean, do it by ourselves, do it by some
Izzy McBeggar with 8 points. One reason why Australia have been able to open up a 16-point lead over Puerto Rico at halftime. They have led by even more in this game. Puerto Rico did a good job of not letting the Opals just blow it wide open. It looked pretty grim when Australia went up by 22 points, but led by Jasmine Guathny, Puerto Rico able to battle back and get it back to a 16-point deficit at halftime. Guathny has a game-high 21 points. I mean, really, certainly from an offensive standpoint, could not have done much more for her team tonight. You can see those 21 points. She's 3 of 4 from three-point range, 6 of 7 at the free throw line, and she's got the 4 rebounds. But you know, Shona, I go back. You played with Canada's national team over the years, and you saw Puerto Rico a lot more than I did. But we both called one of their games at the World Cup back in Tenerife in 2018, and I think that victory the other night against Brazil, it just seems like their confidence has grown, and I don't think you should be fooled into thinking, okay, they're playing against, see Yolanda Jones here, they're playing against Australia. You know, you're talking about the #2 team in the FIBA rankings, and Puerto Rico number 23, and I'm seeing some good play here by Puerto Rico.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think especially offensive rebounding, they've done a good job to keep themselves still in the game. I mean, Guathny has been outstanding for them. O'Neal hasn't even got going yet, and keep in mind, this is a woman at 30 points against Brazil. But you talk about the progression that they've made since you and I last commented their game, which was in 2018 at the Women's World Cup. But don't forget, they lost to Brazil by 28 points in September at the AmeriCup.
Right.
But then in November, they only lost by 4 to Canada. You and I watched the end of that game again while preparing for this. So Canada, top 4 team in the world. only lost by 4, and it was really some questionable calls at the end of the game. 2 missed free throws by O'Neal.
Yeah.
So it really could have gone either way. They beat Cuba by 2 to get here.
Yeah.
Pressure on you right from the start. What are your thoughts on your team's performance so far?
You know, like we didn't play defense at all. They are a very good team, right? But we didn't do nothing on defense. So we need to be more aggressive on defense. We expect that they dominate in the inside, right? They pass the ball to Cambridge and she can dominate. So we expect that. But they are shooting practically alone, right? 58% 2-pointers, 50% 3-pointers. So we need to do a better job on defense.
Well, Jennifer O'Neal was unstoppable against Brazil, and today it seems like Australia were ready for her.
Yeah, she's a little bit touched, you know, from the past game, so she hasn't get her rhythm. So hopefully she can do that in this half and can help us a little bit for try to close the game.
Well, thank you very much and good luck.
So the words of Batista, I thought we were going to hear from Sandy Brondello. But yeah, Puerto Rico getting a lot of confidence, I think, from that win over Brazil. And also, I think the recognition is there. They have a chance to make history by becoming the first women's team from Puerto Rico to make the Olympics. And as an athlete, if you have that dangling in front of you, you can move mountains, really, if you put your mind to it. But Batista called it like it was. You know what? You know, and that is a good sign that he comes out and says, we played no defense, i.e., he's not going to tolerate it. And expect him to come out and play a little bit better on this end of the floor. Well, welcome back, folks. Puerto Rico now attacking the basket to the left here in the third quarter. Trailing by 16. They were down by as many as 22 points. Guathme, nice little pump fake. Remember, if Puerto Rico somehow managed to come back and get a win tonight, they qualify for the Olympics. If they somehow claw their way back to lose by just 1 point, and then France beat Brazil, Puerto Rico qualify for the Olympics. And they've still got a good chance if they don't, if that does not happen tonight. You know, they've still got another game, and obviously if Brazil do not win the rest in this tournament, then Puerto Rico would go to the Olympics.
But, you know, in saying that, Jeff, you don't ever want to rely on another team. Does that make sense? You know, you don't want to sit there and say, well, if, you know, Brazil does this and if this is what happens in the other games. You just want to go out and control what you can control, and that's your own performance.
No, you're right. And forget who you're playing and just get the job done. Doesn't matter if it's the #2 team in the world ranking. So Beck Allen, surprisingly, no points to this stage, to this juncture. And that's her first point of the game. And really, she was their best offensive weapon after Cambage against France on Thursday night.
Yeah, I agree with you. I especially in the second half. In that fourth quarter as well, I thought Beck Allen really came to light. She only took 2 shots, so she's not really being aggressive here for them in the first half.
Kayla George with the offensive rebound. Puerto Rico kept her from scoring at first, but then she gets it back and scores again. And, you know, these are some tough lessons that Puerto Rico are learning. You got to be there and cannot give teams second chance points. Got to prevent that. Guathme. Over to Rosado. Ball goes in and out. Good effort by Quiñones. Jennifer O'Neal, will this be her first? Yep, it is the first points of the second half. And just her third and fourth points of the night.
Yeah, again, you'd love to see her kind of get her rhythm. You heard Coach Batista sort of say, I think he was trying to say maybe she was beat up.
Yeah, maybe.
From the other night, yeah. And you remember right before the end of regulation, I mean, literally 13 seconds left, she got nailed by a screen from De Souza,
Yeah.
and you saw her crumple to the
Good
ground,
point, yeah.
and she looked very shook up.
Yeah. Like the song? I'm all shook up. You just wanted me to sing that, didn't you? Rosado. Any points would be welcomed here from Puerto Rico. They get a 3, that would be best. Quiñones open, why not? And can't get it to go. George with the rebound. Beck Allen, that's more like it for Beck Allen. So she was shut out at halftime and now has got 4 points. Bounce pass to Guathmy. Great play, backdoor pass by Rosado.
I mean, obviously, a defensive game plan for the second half for Australia has to be take away Guathmy, and that's what you saw. Aggressive defense by Talbot, but just a good read, backdoor by Guathmy, and an even better pass.
This time, O'Neal gets the basketball back to Guathmy, who's got the hot hand tonight, and hits another one. Wow, people are waking up to Jasmine Guathmy tonight. If you didn't know her before this, she has been electric. And Cambage upset with herself. She thought she should go to the line for a 3-point play, but instead she's got to take 2 free throws. 14, look at Guathmy. Okay, this is the foul. And Guathmy can't do much more than that to prevent the shot.
Again, you know, I think it was a decent foul. I think Liz Cambage knows that she should have maybe made that basket.
She makes the first. I remember when she played in the Czech Republic at the FIBA Women's Basketball World Cup in 2010, how she just kind of, I mean, it was like a big deal. This player is now on the scene. And she's kind of drifted in and out, hasn't she? Liz Cambage.
Yeah, I think she's taken a couple kind of periods off with the team.
You know, she was that high draft pick in the WNBA, and then only really just made her mark in the WNBA.
Yeah, you know, I think she went
Played
one
in
summer,
China.
didn't really like it. Maybe she was in Tulsa and wasn't really comfortable.
O'Neal, long rebound collected by Mitchell. Allie Gibson back into the game. And Rosado picks up the foul. But Guathmy's having, I mean, she's had just an unbelievable scoring game tonight. We'll have to keep an eye on that. She's got 26 points. Pass, and McBeggar fouled, so she will go to the line.
Yeah, and a good patience there by Liz Cambage to, you have to go and double her. She has 21 points already in this game. You know, she's only played 16 minutes, so you know the double is gonna come. Just good patience and a good job by McBeggar cutting to the basket, drawing the foul.
First one is good. She's been very good tonight. And getting some treatment over there, Kayla George. Lead goes back to 18. Gibson lives dangerously, takes it back out to Quiñones. O'Neal, former star at Kentucky, and puts it up and still can't get it to go.
And those were the kind of shots that were falling for her the other nights.
She did. She was pretty much hitting everything that she put up.
You just saw Neil kind of talk to Gibson and say, hey, that's our 5th foul. 6 minutes left in the 3rd quarter, and every time they foul now, Australia are going to be going to the free throw line. They are shooting 76% from free throw tonight.
really interesting when you think about what the prospects are for Australia. I mean, obviously they lose the first game against France. You know, I mean, we expect them to qualify for the Olympics. How good can they become by the time Tokyo rolls around?
Yeah.
Because they've got some great players.
They also have players who play in the WNBA. They have a coach who coaches in the WNBA, so maybe they don't have as much time training together because of those reasons.
They'll get O'Hay back. Gwathmey on the baseline misses. You know, but let's don't forget, I mean, they were the third team. They finished third at the Asia Cup. So there's a lot of good teams out there. Gwathmey on the break, and should have taken it herself, I think. Excellent recovery by Rosado. Then she launches it, and then O'Neal picks up and gets to watch the ball fall through the basket. She hasn't been able to do that much tonight.
No, she really hasn't. I think you could see kind of the frustration in her shot as well.
And Blitzovs catches it and scores with ease. I think I said she hurt her knee in 2015. It was 2017. So great fight back by her. Make it back into this Opals roster. Gwathmey has the ball taken away by McBeggar. Gwathmey looks at the Argentina referee. Watch this. See if she grabs. No, that's a good steal by McBeggar.
Looked like a lot of ball from the replay.
So Gwathmey takes a seat. Solomon, Yolanda Jones, Melendez, O'Neal, and Allie Gibson in the game. Here goes McBeggar. She's unstoppable. No, she misses. Not sure what happened on that drive. That's where she's been excellent. O'Neal on the break. Great defense by Beck Allen. Solomon. Into the corner, O'Neal gets in, puts it up, and it's that kind of night. She's fouled by Tolo and has to settle for a couple of free throws.
You know, when your outside shot's not falling, that's kind of what coaches tell you to do, right? They say be aggressive, attack the basket, and try and get to the free throw line, because that's where you get to catch your breath and sort of see the ball go through the hoop. You know, you work on your follow through, your form at the free throw line. So I think that's a good job by O'Neal. She was open to shoot the three, but you know, given her shooting woes today, 0 for 4 from 3, why not be aggressive and try and attack the basket?
And gets it to go. So 18 points of deficit. Edzeri leans into one. Good job grabbing the rebound and getting a chance to play here. Is it for the first time in this tournament? Yolanda Jones gets blocked, and Solomon is in pain, and that is not good. That is not good at all if that is serious, and it certainly does look serious.
It does not sound good, that's for sure. We're not far away from her, and you can hear the pain that she is in. She is grabbing, it looks like, her left, behind her left knee.
Yeah.
I didn't quite see what happened. Did you catch it, Jeff?
No, she'll be examined, and I would not be surprised. Well, I don't want to say anything, but be surprised if she played again tonight.
And you know, it doesn't really matter where you are in the tournament. You never like to see a player go down. Oh, yeah. So it was on, it was when she landed, it went in and out. That did not look good. And she's clearly in a lot of pain.
Well, you hate to see that no matter what. Solomon was just excellent for Puerto Rico in their win. I thought she was really good tonight offensively. And they're going to examine her, but you know, it could be that she'll have to go get it x-rayed. Well, it kind of saps, takes some of the air out of the balloon, doesn't it? Hate to see that.
I also, you know, you've seen some times where an injury happens and it sometimes motivates your teammates, you know?
Yeah.
Like, let's go out and try and get this for, you know, your fallen teammate.
I guess what makes it difficult is, okay, it's February, and if Puerto Rico do somehow qualify for the Olympics, you know, she'll be hoping
If
that
it
she
is
makes
a
it back.
serious knee injury, I think the timing is going to be very short.
Yeah.
Unfortunately.
Canales in the game, misses. "13 minutes remaining in the game. And Nicholson launches it. Blitz Saves with the offensive rebound, puts it back up. Now Nicholson swoops in for the rebound. Nice to have a tall rebounding guard get in there like Nicholson. Here she is, puts on the deck again, gets it to Tolo, and she scores. Well, I think Tolo has taken a step forward tonight.
Yeah, I think Tolo and also Kayla George. I thought, you know, she has 9 points, Tolo has 8. They've been much more aggressive for this Australian team here today compared to what we saw against France.
Tolo makes the free throw and takes the lead now up to 23 points. Gibson, nice move to get inside, puts it up and takes the contact and goes to the line.
And those were the kind of aggressive moves that we saw her doing the other night against Brazil. And like we said, she did a great job getting to the free throw line against Brazil. And that's kind of, you know, they were always behind against Brazil until the end of the game where they ended up tying it and then winning in overtime. And it was Puerto Rico getting to the free throw line, and they haven't done as good of a job of that here tonight. You know, they've been 11 times, but they went 26 times the other day.
Sofia Roma checks in, back into the game, number 11. See if Australia can get across midcourt. They do. Guathmy back in. Quinones, Rosado. So back to a 20-point deficit. Now again, Tolo catches it down low. Guathmy gets the baseline. What a spectacular move. Wow. 28 points for Guathmy. McBeggar misses. Scrapping for the rebound. Puerto Rico, it's Guathmy that comes up with it. Canales gets it to the middle of the floor. Rosado back to Guathmy. Canales there for the offensive rebound. Roma tries to go up. And the ball hit out of bounds.
You know, maybe on that play, I mean, I like the unselfishness by Guathmy passing it to Canales there, but maybe she should have pass faked and gone up for the shot herself, considering her shooting percentage tonight. You know, she's 9 of 15, 4 of 5 from three-point range.
She needs to be a little more selfish.
Yes.
On a night like tonight,
yeah, exactly.
She's got to be more selfish.
And, you know, this is something you kind of have to think about. I think Puerto Rico can score a lot of points quickly, but at what point does Australia say, okay, we kind of feel a little comfortable? Because don't forget, both these teams have games tomorrow. And Australia need to win a game tomorrow to guarantee themselves a ticket Puerto Rico are in a little bit better of a situation, but nothing is guaranteed.
Yeah, you never know.
You know what I'm
I mean,
asking?
yeah.
But then also points for and against, if there's any type of tiebreaker that they need to think about, also count as well.
Well, Puerto Rico have got it back to 18 points now. Quick pass to Cambage. He points to the passer and says, good pass. Guathme, I think she thinks she's going to blow past Cambage. She gets past her, then she tries to make the pass, and again, unselfish, but maybe she's going to have the better opportunity.
Yeah.
I think maybe some of the players on the court aren't getting as many minutes, so maybe they're not on the same page.
Yeah, I agree with you. You know, she didn't really know where her teammates were going to be on that pass. I think she was off balance and thought she couldn't go up herself.
Oh, great play by Cambage. You see that? Instead of bringing the ball down, she knew she had to keep it up. Great footwork.
She thought it was also an and one. She often thinks a lot of her shots are and ones, though.
Oh, almost. Blitzavs getting the steal. Guathme, some high arc. Now Nicholson gets the long rebound. Final 20 seconds here of the third quarter.
Australia, you're going to hold it, obviously, for the last shot.
Kuzmanic on Ebzery. Cambage puts it down, puts it up, and Guathme, I think, tapped that in, trying to knock the ball away, and it'll belong to Kayla George. But it looked like Guathme, watch this. Looks like Guathme gets these 2 points.
Yeah.
They should have a rule where they take away 2 of her points for that. Anyway, 79-55, Australia in command at the end of 3. So 24-43 for Australia, 16 of 20 at the line.
It's just their shooting percentage.
So here's some highlights. And again, Puerto Rico have lost Salomon for the night. She had to be helped off. She had to be carried off the court.
Yeah, it does not look good for Solomon. And she was definitely in pain. But I think overall, Australia have played much better basketball. You know, they're shooting the ball much better than they did against France. And, you know, you have to give a little bit of that credit to France because I think the defense is a little bit more intense, but they're shooting 56% tonight from 2, where they only shot 36% against France. They were 41% from 3, so they're 45 tonight. Not bad, very similar. But for me, the actual biggest stat is they only have 4 turnovers, and they had 18 the other night.
Yeah. That, and, you know, defensively in that quarter, they weren't too bad. Their coach thought they should have played better defense in the first half. And really, you know, you got to have to, yeah, it's tough, but you got the game plan. Defensively, you've got to really lock down and do that for 40 minutes.
Yeah.
More important than anything.
I do think that Puerto Rico have done an excellent job offensive rebounding. They have 15 offensive rebounds against a much taller Australian team.
That'll be something that I'm sure Australia will talk about after this game.
Yeah.
There's Valérie Garnier, the coach of France, ready to hopefully lead France tonight into the Olympics, which they will do with a win. Ebzery made that a tough inbounds pass here as we start the final quarter. Australia on top by 24 points against Puerto Rico, who had that great win against Brazil. And O'Neal, just can't quite get it to go tonight. After the brilliant opening night performance, she's been held in check with 8 points, 3 of 13 from the floor. 3 of 14 from the floor now after that miss. Nicholson called for the carry. Olaf Long, the husband of Sandy Brondello and one of her assistant coaches over there in the pilot chair. Comfortable seats over there on the bench. Well, they keep going to O'Neal. She dribbles between her legs, she puts it up.
Yeah, those were the kind of shots that she was hitting, and they're just not falling tonight for her. I'm not sure that was the best offense that we've seen by Puerto Rico.
And offensive foul called on Liz Cambage.
Oh, they're saying that's actually a great call. The ref saw the left-handed hook by Cambage. Yeah, I think that's a great call. Because there's a couple of moves that I've seen Cambage make where you think it's more of an offensive, kind of going with an elbow or the shoulder a little bit compared to that. But it's true, you know, we did get a good replay of the little hook.
Is that what you want to see as you look at the foul called? I mean, you know, this day and age, you see ball handling centers. You know, you see.
Yeah.
If you're Sandy Brondello, is that you want to see Liz Cambage take the ball from one end of the court to the next?
Yeah. 3-point line to the basket. I mean, you know, it's not the first time that I've seen Liz Cambage. I think that's kind of a part of her game that she likes to do. So maybe as a coach, if you don't like it, you also have to accept the bad things and the good things about the players.
Yeah. Oh, what a bounce pass. Beautiful. Gwathmey gets it over Cambage, but Cambage altered the shot. She won't get the block for that, but she might as well because it was as good as a block. And Ebzery hits a three-pointer. Allie Gibson into the paint, and she is fouled. Oh, rough and tumble trip down the floor for both Puerto Rico and Australia. Look at this. Even took the hairband off of Allie Gibson. Tessa Levy hasn't played. She's looking on. She was in that Olympic team back in 2016 when Brenda Joyce was the coach. Gibson makes the second. Offensive foul. If they called it on George.
I think they might have a screening foul. Some tensions kind of going right now between Kayla George and maybe Allie Gibson. Yeah, it was on Kayla. She's laughing about it.
Although it was Gwathmey who was fouled. So yeah, we're not going to see Alana Smith again tonight, it appears. And now a reach and a foul called.
And this is kind of disappointing. I think that's a bad foul by Ebzery. One, it's your fourth personal foul.
And you've put him in the bonus.
And you've put him into bonus with 7 minutes and 54 seconds. Just uncalled for. I mean, far away from the basket, nothing was happening. I know you want to play aggressive defense, but I doubt she's going to come back in the rest of the game now. And, you know, 82-57, I know it's a tall order, but the best way to get back into the game is to stop the clock and shoot free throws. And now every foul opportunity is going to be that for Puerto Rico.
That's right. So 82-58. Cambage takes it down low, misses, follows up the miss. And Cambage wanting the foul called.
I think she needs to be a little bit careful here, though, Jeff. You know, there's a certain amount of talking that the refs will accept.
Yeah, they don't want to be shown up. Well, Jennifer O'Neal knocks in the three. Here she is again. Going to work and takes it down low.
You know, we keep talking about Guathme's 28 points, but
good
Liz
pass.
Cambage has 31 right now. Okay, sorry, 30 points.
Guathme, yeah, 30. They've provided, once again, the highlights. I think Guathme's scoring has been far more spectacular than Cambage. Good play. Oh, couldn't quite get it to Blitzhaus before it was knocked out of bounds. Cambage will go out. Tolo comes back in. Beck Allen, McBaggart comes in.
I think there's a little confusion about whose ball it is. Take a look here. Oh, that's a bad call. It is clearly Puerto Rico's ball.
Yeah, but they can't review it until later in the quarter, unfortunately. Well, little justice prevailed.
Yeah, that's kind of one of those situations where you say, you know what, bad calls happen. I mean, refs miss things. Let's put it that way. It's impossible for three refs to watch 10 women at the same time. So, you know, you kind of always hope that, well, you get it back.
Well, Allen's done a decent job tonight defensively. Now it's Tolo that's switched on O'Neal. Beck Allen open. That's good. That's what Australia needs her to do.
Yeah, she's been kind of quiet tonight.
Patty Teixeira looking on. She had the big night the other night.
Allen only 6 points. But she hasn't shot the ball or been as aggressive as we saw against France the other night.
Rosado gets it to go. No, they haven't really needed her to be honest.
Yeah, you're right.
But I don't know if you want to turn it on, turn it off. Mitchell's played much better early tonight for Australia when it was important. Here's Gibson pushing it up to Rosado, who pulls up and no doubt had it impacted, but Gibson gets the offensive rebound. And she will get an and one.
And again, you know, we talked at halftime. There you see Gibson doing a good job of coming back and getting involved in the play when you kind of thought it was a fast break opportunity. But, you know, we talked about it, Gibson at halftime, how she'd been kind of slow, and I said, well, the last game she was a second half player, and that's what we're seeing here today from her.
So timeout.
The balls can switch, okay? And then switch. I'm blocking it. You're going to stay on yours, okay? Fighting over. You got it? Are you clear? Now, look, ladies, don't just take shit shots.
There you see points in the paint, 46 for Australia compared to 22 for Puerto Rico.
Transition, flow into stuff. You can run weak, you can still run one up and still move the ball, okay? The three sides, they're walling you up a lot, so you got to just, and then spin back and just do it, or just pass it out, re-screen or re-seal. Okay, no dribbles, just make the move. Okay, that's what we want to do here. Hey, right now, we're running a free side for her. Actually, no, we're not.
Kayla George takes a seat, 11 points, a lot of hustle. And Gibson, who will play a very important part for Puerto Rico in the next game tomorrow, up against France. Guathme also on the bench now.
Yeah, I'm wondering if this is kind of strategic by Puerto Rico.
So Canales excited to get a chance to get some minutes here, 25 years of age. Oh, Beck Allen, well, I think she's heard us talking about her because she's come back out and hit another three-pointer.
Yeah, she's someone who, no matter where you are on defense, you have to be aware of her, especially in a zone defense.
O'Neal, finally. Looked like Beck Allen dropped off of her for a second, and right when O'Neal sensed that, she put it up.
I mean, O'Neal's such a great shooter, but she can also attack the basket, so you have to respect both of them. And I think Beck Allen thought she was going to attack and took that step off and just gave her an inch too much.
Beck Allen had that, missed it. Blitzhouse battles, gets the ball back. She's had some good minutes tonight off the bench. Here she is catching it, shooting it, and missing it. So Allen gets it back over to Mitchell. And Mitchell swatted, and the ball goes off of Australia, and it goes back to Puerto Rico.
A lot of contact everywhere there.
Watch this.
Oh, that was all ball. I kind of thought maybe Mitchell got fouled.
Yep. So it's good to have that excellent camera work to show us what it was all about. Here's Kuzmanic, the youngest player in the team, 23 years of age, gets it to Canales. Drives in and unsuccessfully. Now Blitzabs quickly to the other end. McBeggar. And fouled.
Yeah, I think Jones just didn't let her land. She's been fun to watch tonight. 12 points already. Again, another one of those kind of young, up-and-coming players for Australia, where I think these kind of tournaments are really important because you get a little bit of experience playing against, you know, some of the best. Okay, they're playing 23rd ranked Puerto Rico, but they played 5th ranked France the other night. You know, to progress your career, you have to start young and kind of see what it's all about.
Yeah, you need the games. That's the great thing about the new competition system. They've gotten them. Melendez drives in. McBeggar with the rebound, but she almost hits the referee in the back of the head. So Brazil lining up, getting ready to play. They know what awaits them. It's going to be a huge ask in the second game for Brazil, going up against what was a rampant France on opening night. Rosado. Pamela Rosado. The dump. Oh, look at the strength. Look at the strength of McBeggar.
Yeah, good job there, kind of just sealing in, getting position. Nice pass from Mitchell.
She just took it right at Crespo Santana. Watch this. Tessa Levy in the game now, number 23. So Australia closing in on the century mark, 97 points. Rosado, good move, hands it off to Canales. And really, I guess even worse than a defeat for Puerto Rico tonight is the fact that they've lost Salomon to injury, and we're just hoping, praying that, you know, it's nothing serious, but it certainly seems like it was. Good shot, Beck Allen. She puts him on 100.
We were talking about how Beck Allen hasn't really had a big night, but she's going to end up finishing in double digits.
She had no points at halftime.
Look at that, 14 points, 3 of 6 from three-point range.
Good drive. Canales just needs to finish better. She's getting in some good scoring positions. Beck Allen again. Will it be 17 for her? No, she misses. Tessa Levy back out. Brings it up top. Allen again. McBeggar over to Levy, and I think maybe McBeggar didn't know how much time was on the clock.
Yeah, just kind of clock awareness.
But also maybe Beck Allen forgot how much time was on the clock. Nicholson comes back in. But when you're up 26, you're not going to be too concerned about that. You know the evening meal is right around the corner as a player. You're going to get the pep talk, the press conference, and then it's on the bus and back to the hotel for the grub, unless they stick around and watch the next game.
No, I imagine the players will probably go back to the hotel, shower up, eat, and then treatment.
Lift some weights? Nope.
Probably not. I think it's all about kind of treatment and trying to get the recovery happening
because
before your turnaround game tomorrow. Exactly. They're not qualified. And, you know, I think it's all about kind of rest. They're at an advantage because they have the early game tonight, but they play early tomorrow. The game's at 2 o'clock tomorrow. So
McBeggar, bounce pass, Talbot, and she runs into Crespo Santana. Nicholson gets it. Levy. Nicholson hustles and gets the ball back. So 8.9 seconds remains, and Australia leading at 100-74, and I'm guessing they'll probably inbound it. Well, you never know with point difference. Maybe they'll go for another basket.
yeah, it looks like they're going to go for a basket.
No, she's going to dribble it out. So Australia win it in the end convincingly. We did see some really good basketball at times from Puerto Rico tonight, especially Jasmine Guathmy. But it was Australia winning it convincingly, 100-74 over Puerto Rico. So, tough night for Puerto Rico. They lost Salomon to injury, and again, we're just not going to know probably tonight what the severity of it is. But they will meet at midcourt. And you see Tolo talking about how we got to forget this and get ready for tomorrow. But needless to say, both teams leave the arena, neither of them having qualified for the Olympics, but still with a good chance of qualifying for the Olympics.
Yeah, absolutely, Jeff. Here you see the shooting percentages, 56%, 36%, 47 to 32. Free throws, 88% for Puerto Rico. They did a good job of getting to the line, too. Australia out-rebounded Puerto Rico by 10. But they also gave up 16 offensive rebounds. They had 29 assists.
Yeah.
So they were doing a good job sharing the ball. I mean, I think that the names of the game are those two right there, Cambage and Guathamy. They were fun to watch. You know, you said how maybe Guathamy's were a little bit more spectacular. I agree with you. She also shot a little bit better percentage. She had 30 points. She was 10 of 18. Liz was 11 of 20. But it seems like her shots were just maybe more tough to get, you know, step back threes, transition three-pointers, sometimes attacking the basket, offensive rebounds. She really gave it her all tonight. And now, same thing, both these teams have to go back. They have to recover, recoup, and then start planning for their games tomorrow. I thought Australia did a much better job, though, tonight, sharing the ball and getting more people involved. You know, we talked about that the other night. It was only Beck Allen and Liz Cambage who really stepped up and scored for them. That was not the case today. Kayla George did a great job being more aggressive early in this game. I thought McBeggar came in and was great for the Australians. You know, we saw Beck Allen kind of light it up, especially in the second half, fourth quarter, actually. Just other people. People were getting involved more. There were more shots for everyone. But a big reason is they didn't turn the ball over as many times. They had 11 turnovers, but a lot of those were actually kind of in the last few minutes of the fourth quarter, where the other night they had 18 turnovers against France. Puerto Rico, they gave it their all, Jeff.
I think Puerto Rico will go back and look at the tape and say, you know what? We had some good play here, but here we've got to get better on defense.
Yeah.
You know, and it is, you know, I think one of my enduring images of this game will be of McBeggar putting the ball on the deck or catching the ball just as she gets to the paint and getting to the basket for layups. And Puerto Rico just have to rotate quicker. They have to get into those spots, deny those spaces. And they're only going to learn how to do that by playing these great teams, because those great teams will exploit opportunities. And McBeggar, but at the end of the day, come on. You know, Puerto Rico, huge underdogs on the grand scheme of things against a team like Australia. They came out overall and put almost 75 points on the board.
Yep.
So they've got something to build on from there. And you know what? You didn't come into this OQT women thinking you were going to win all 3 games either.
No, definitely.
So, and again, as we take the wide shot here, you'll look at the standings. So now both of those teams actually move into first and second at 1-1 since they get that extra participation point. But France, well, if that game finishes all knotted, we'll have 4 1-1 teams. France win next against Brazil. They'll qualify for the Olympics. Brazil trying to boost their chances of getting in. Again, Australia winning at 100-74, and Brazil and France are coming up next here in Bourges for Shona Thorburn. I'm Jeff Taylor. Thanks for watching. More action coming your way.
That one game to get the nastiness out of the way, and then she